Biomonsters under Metropolis was New York shaken by a possibly artificial earthquake, another interpretation of what happened. And while the whole world was watching the explosions in New York, few people paid attention to another event in the same metropolis. It was rocked by a mini earthquake magnitude 1.7. It seems like a small thing, but the emergency services were seriously alarmed. Now, many years ago, I was working in the downtown area near the Staten Island Ferry, and I was working in a shipping company called U.S. Lines. It's a small building, it's not very high, but I was on the third floor, and we did have an earthquake. Some people claimed that it was a supersonic jet passing overhead. Well, there was no such thing. Obviously, the buildings there, the skyscrapers in New York City, in Manhattan, are only built to stand a 7 magnitude earthquake. Now, it's not clear what could have caused such tremors recently in New York City. In the city itself, they were not felt, but on Roosevelt Island in the East River, people felt shocks and vibrations of buildings, and the power outages were recorded near the incident site. The most interesting thing is that in the early morning, local residents heard explosions and maybe the earthquake was caused by them, and then how powerful the explosion must have been, that the island shook and where it happened, and that it was heard but not seen. And here comes the hypothesis of an artificial blast taking place underground in secret underground bunker laboratories. It was like, a resident said it was like an explosion, sounded like a bomb went off. The building shook, it woke us up. We called downstairs and they said it happened to all 4 buildings. Or did something explode underwater? Some kind of a mysterious situation has arisen here. New York Island shook, and the reasons are still unclear. Officials said the calls came from the island, as well as the Upper East Side of Manhattan and even Astoria of Long Island, just across the 59th Street Bridge, of course. Fox 5 New York captured the aerial photo showing several emergency response vehicles on the island. An earthquake magnitude 1.7 occurred in New York. Residents on Roosevelt Island on the East River reported hearing a loud explosion and buildings shaking, Fox 5 New York reported. The administration of the mayor of New York, despite the statements of witnesses and eyewitnesses, denies that there were explosions that provoked an earthquake on the island, and they say they should be believed and not those who live on the island. And this adds even more mystery to the incident. Maybe under the island, a secret biological laboratory was actually blown up in which creepy secret experiments were carried out with biomaterials that got out of control. Now, where did they get that idea from? Maybe this mysterious explosion, which the inhabitants of the island heard but did not see, stopped the spread of a zombie apocalypse like in a creepy horror film. It's clear why the mayor's office denies explosions. They don't want to cause panic, but what if the situation gets out of control and biomonsters or an ominous virus of a new generation may pour into the streets of the metropolis? One eyewitness reports the following. About 5:45 or so, I suddenly felt my bed and the building moving and a very loud sound. Resident Georgette Sinclair told Fox 5 New York. She said, I woke up and thought there was an earthquake. Earthquakes on the East Coast of the United States are a very rare phenomenon, which is made even more frightening by the fact that it occurred only on one island in New York, clearly an artificial or of artificial origin. Moreover, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, in the east of North America, there are more ancient rocks, some of which were formed hundreds of millions of years earlier than in the West Coast. And these old formations have been subjected to extreme pressures and temperatures, making them more solid, essentially preventing earthquakes from occurring there. And in general, we will wait for further events. If some kind of outbreak of infection begins in New York in coming days, there will be definitely an emergency in secret underground biological laboratories. Now, we do notice that we do have small earthquakes in the area of the Northeast, especially lately around Quebec. Now, looking at Seismo Berkeley, we had a 2 magnitude earthquake on the 16th of June. In Maine, we know has 5 volcanoes, 4 of them in a 100-mile radius. That was on the 16th, magnitude 2. Magnitude 2 in Madison, Ohio, on the 16th again. And on the 17th, we had a 2.2 magnitude earthquake in Clinton, Tennessee. So we do have earthquakes around there on the East Coast. Now, please leave your comments about this, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.